Hello, I am Mr. Endler, and I am your student's teacher for either physics or chemistry. I welcome you to this very challenging year that we have just started. I would like to tell you a little bit about uh, going through the class or the classes, and I would like to start with where I start every day, which is an announcement for a Zoom meeting. So let me go ahead and show that now. Here, uh, every day I will post in Google Classroom uh, the link for our Zoom meeting. You can see it down here. This would be a classroom page in Google Classroom. This is for the AP Physics first period. It will also tell you if there are any upcoming assignments due. There were a couple that were due today, for example. Now, besides that, I should also say this is what's called the stream page, where it lists all the different activities, announcements, or anything that happens in Google Classroom. This is what's called the classwork page, and it has a list of all the assignments that are on it. And so in this case, you can see that we have different assignments that were assigned last week, some due today. Also put notes on here, slightly different icons when they have the notes. And then this would be where a student could go to find out all their assignments. And if they missed class, the assignments would still be here for them to go ahead and access themselves. When I go to grade a particular assignment, this is kind of what it looks like to begin with. I get this little picture of their work. Now, I can, of course, blow it up so that I can see things if I want to look at details, but you can't imagine going back and forth between the various sizes, and then, some things are, shall we say, not as great photo quality as others. This one is a case where I have to zoom up. There are other cases in which I have to actually zoom out several times before I can actually see what I want to see. Anyway, just to come back to the classwork page, here are all the different assignments that are listed, and not just the current ones, but it goes all the way back. And so, as I said, if they are absent, or if there's ever a question and they want to go back and get something, all the notes and assignments are listed there. Now, that is not the only place that I list things or that I place things. You can also go to my web page. One way to get to the web page is you can go through the school website, look for our staff, and then scroll down until you get to the science department. And then here you can see my name, website, and email address. And it's pretty much the same for every teacher, first name, last name, and then at thecusd.com. If you then click on the website, this is what you'll see. And what I would direct you to, there are a lot of tabs up here, but depending on the class, I would direct you to the one that says calendars. So AP Physics calendar, the physics calendar, or the chemistry calendar. That's the one that you should check out if you want to see what's going on. And so what you'll see, for instance, here, the physics calendar, I have last year's work and then this year's work. So for this year, you would click on the 2021. And then this is all the weeks that we've had up through last week. And then if you again, checking on some assignment that you had missed, you hit a previous week. So here was, for instance, 8/31. And then this shows you everything that we do each day. So it's a little bit different look than what's in Google Classroom. And so you can see what we did first and second and so forth. Notice that I start out every day, basically questions. Are there any questions? They could be questions on homework, or they could just be questions in general, because, having to do everything online presents a whole list of issues that you may need to deal with. Then you can also see that there are links here. So in some cases, here I provided answers to previous assignments so that they could check their work. Here are some notes, so that's a link to the notes. These are assignments, and then their answers, which they can, again, go and check. And if you were to click on one of the assignments, you would see something like this, in which down here is a PDF file. And I choose PDF files for everything that's on the web page because I know you can download a PDF reader for free, and so everybody should be able to do PDF type files, whereas not everybody actually has a Word file or a Google Doc file, etc. Sometimes this will be notes and maybe even a video that I have here to watch. So anyway, you can access it through Google Classroom, or at least your student can access it through Google Classroom, and then you can access it also through the web page to see the kinds of things. And then, of course, go to the Parent Connect or the Student Connect so that you can keep abreast of what their grades are. I went over the grades, the current grades, with every student today, and couple of important things to note. First off, anything that was missing, anything that they did not get 100% on in terms of classwork or homework, they can fix, they can redo, they can turn in, and it will not be counted late. If they follow directions and show all their work and do every problem, they can still get 100%. Now, that is not forever. As I mentioned, in a couple of weeks, we will now be into the second 6-week grading period. And I said, at that point, August stuff is going to be considered late, but not right now. So you have a couple of weeks to take care of anything that was missing. I also reminded them that by doing the classwork, it makes them more prepared for quizzes and tests. So it's actually a double bonus there. Part of it is points just for doing the classwork. Part of it is it's always with the intent that you do a better job on the quizzes and tests. And, I sometimes get the question, well, some of the assignments I didn't turn in is because I didn't know how. And so what I would say then is, okay, so what are you going to do about it? And it's not meant to really be a challenge, but it is meant to say, okay, you're stuck. Now what? And the idea is I remind them, first of all, you can ask questions during class. And one of the advantages of the Zoom world is that you can actually type out a question on chat as opposed to having to raise your hand and ask your question in front of the whole class. You can do a private chat. You can email me questions. I may not get back to them as quickly as I can during class, but it is another method. You can also give me questions and messages through Google Classroom. So that's one option. A second option I tell them is you don't have to do this all alone. Get with other people who have to do the homework as well. Form little study teams or study groups. When I was going to graduate school, that was one of the ways that I got through it, is I would hang out with the other graduate students to do my work, to ask how they were doing it, and they would ask me how I was doing it. And that feedback back and forth really increased the amount of learning. And then I said, well, you can ask me, you can ask your fellow students, but there isn't anything we're doing in these classes that you can't Google as well. And in fact, you could probably find more videos than you could ever watch in your lifetime. Some will be boring, some will be entertaining, some might not be exactly what you wanted, but there's lots of stuff there in video form, in text form, with problems worked out, everything. What it really comes down to is, are you satisfied with how you're doing, or do you want to do better? There are options for you. And so that was really the message that I was driving home today, starting with, hey, if you don't have everything turned in, you can still turn it in for full credit. It's just up to you to want to do that. Anyway, I thank you for visiting, and hopefully we have a great year. Honestly, my watchword for this year is patience. I need to be patient with the students because they have a whole extra challenge. They need to be patient with me because I have a whole extra challenge having to do everything through online. Anyway, thank you for coming. Have a good evening.